We'll run our tests. All clean. So let's kick off a run. Actually, we can, I feel like using our little cheat approach since that worked pretty well last time. So we'll go to our runs. Okay, we're sorting based on started at. So this is the most recent one. We'll simply change this to in progress. All good. So this one is now marked as in progress. Now we can use the resume flag and it should pick up right there. Okay, visualizer. Not expecting any issues at this step. Okay, that was super quick actually. So the caption is mapping the future of global AI infrastructure, and the prompt, let's actually look at this in the database while we wait. Oh, it finished already. Well, no error messages, so I think it figured out the right API. Let's look at the visual concepts and see what prompt it generated. That's the caption. Here's the prompt. A sleek holographic world map glows with neon, cyan, and magenta data streams rendered in a glass morphism style against a dark navy blue background. Intricate grid lines and network pathways crisscross the continents, converging on several intensely bright glowing nodes that symbolize optimal locations for new infrastructure. The mood is futuristic and analytical, with the vibrant neon lights casting a sophisticated glow over the high-tech, data-rich landscape. That's pretty evocative. So let's see what that image looks like that it created. So in theory, that should be sitting in the output directory here. Yeah, let's close the terminal. Sure enough, there's our image. All right, I see one big problem. So this looks really cool. I like the glowing nodes and connections and kind of this whole sort of cyberpunk vibe. The reflections are really neat here as well. So that's great. What I don't like is the text that it put in there. Global infrastructure optimization. And that's fine. That's probably accurate and actually much better than, if you remember earlier attempts at image generation, they tended to put kind of broken text fragments with typos and whatnot. So overall, the tools have gotten a lot better at that. But yeah, I want no text in the image. So let's see if we can improve that. Actually, I wonder, I think referencing this, let's see if this works. Yeah, this might not work because the file is actually git ignored. But I might be able to drag it in here. Maybe not. That's all right. I can just describe where to look. I was wondering if maybe Cloud Code can actually just look at the file, right, and analyze it, and based on that, see how it might improve the prompt. Because overall, these LLMs are really, really good these days at looking at an image, whether it's a screenshot or something else, and then actually giving good advice. I've had really good results with that, with designing web pages and things like that. But let's just try text for now. All right, so here's what I'm telling Claude. The generated image looks great, except that it includes text at the top. Take a look yourself in output header.png. Again, not sure if it'll do that. Let's see. How can we avoid this? It's really critical that the generated images don't include any text. Looks like it is actually looking at the header image. Oh, there we go. Yeah, global infrastructure optimization right across the top. The issue is twofold. We need to reinforce the no text constraint in both the visualizer's system prompt, so the generated prompt itself explicitly forbids text, and in the image generator's prompt to the image model. I agree with that. That's pretty similar to the approach that I use in my production pipeline. It can be surprisingly tricky. There are actually certain styles that often end up resulting in text, like a blueprint style, for example, because a lot of blueprints, things like architectural blueprints, they would typically have text or at least symbols on them. So part of the solution tends to be to really positively reinforce what kind of styles you do want and steer it away from things that are prone to those kinds of issues. But then the other is this kind of negative reinforcement can work pretty well also, where you tell it, hey, just don't include any text. So let's see what it actually changed. It says the visualizer system prompt, let's click on that, now instructs the LLM that the generated prompt must explicitly include a no text directive, since image models tend to add text unless forcefully told not to. Not really sure why we need this. We could really just hard code this in the image generator step ourselves, but that's fine. I think it doesn't hurt to have it in the prompt also. And then here in the image generator step, we're also saying absolutely no text, no words, no letters, no numbers, no titles, no labels, no captions, no typography anywhere in the image. Okay, that should do the trick. So let's kick off the pipeline one more time. Okay, it finished. Let's see, we have something here about... Let's actually take a quick look at the generated newsletter post while we're at it, so we can see if the image actually symbolizes the idea. So here's the newsletter post. A quiet but fundamental shift is happening underneath the AI hype. A new universal standard called the Model Context Protocol, MCP, is emerging, acting as a common language for AI agents to securely interact with any software. As one VentureBeat article puts it, it's becoming the USB-C for AI. Okay, fine. Agent Weave, no-code platform for you to build, deploy, and manage AI agents that automate your business. Here's the business case, revenue model, go-to-market. Oh, interesting. It has some subreddits here that it suggests posting in. Oh, I like this honesty here in the moat. Let's be honest. The initial moat is thin. Your biggest advantage is timing and focus. It talks a bit about competitors, Zapier and Make.com. There's another article quote here. Why now? Builder's Corner. Next.js with Tailwind CSS. ShadCN /UI. Okay, Supabase. Yep, looks pretty solid to me. Now let's look at the visual concept first, so we can see how well the image adheres to that. So the image prompt is here. A glowing holographic network of interconnected nodes on a dark background, representing a complex web of AI agents. Luminous strands of cyan and magenta light flow between sleek glass-morphic modules, suggesting the seamless transfer of data and automated actions in a futuristic system. The composition is clean and abstract, set against the deep navy background with a subtle grid overlay, evoking a sense of sophisticated, interconnected intelligence. No text, no words, blah, blah, blah. Looks good to me. And the caption, AI agents weaving a network of automated workflows. Sounds fairly similar in style to the previous one. I think that's probably because they share the same archetype. Anyway, let's open up the image. Okay, that's much simpler. Just a bunch of nodes with these connected, colorful edges here, and sort of a kind of abstract circuit-like background. I think this is pretty solid, and there's no text, so I think this step is working just fine. There's all kinds of things you could improve about image generation, and this is also really a good place to make it your own. And again, we'll cover some of those techniques later, but for now, I'm going to call this done. So let's commit it to Git. And with that, we've gone all the way to the end of the pipeline. So you've done it, and hopefully you followed along and you now have a working pipeline of your own that generates newsletter posts and header images from news signals. We're not quite done yet with the course, so let me tell you a little bit about what's next. First, we're going to implement some refinements. We're going to add a better candidate selection algorithm, so we don't always just naively pick the highest scoring one. And that'll help us add a little bit more variety to the output. We'll also go over some techniques to further improve the image generation. And then finally, as a bonus, we're going to cover how I generate podcasts. So you'll be able to auto-generate podcast episodes as well, either to go along with your newsletter post or maybe even to replace the newsletter with just a podcast. They're both pretty similar outputs. It's only that one uses a podcast script instead of a newsletter and then generates audio from that. But anyway, so that's something to look forward to. For now, congratulations on building your own pipeline, and see you in the next video.